If you're not already obsessed with HBO's House of the Dragon, what are you even doing? It's the prequel to the famous Game of Thrones. Gives us all the same feels, a nostalgic vibe of one of the greatest shows ever. But at the same time, it has a completely new story, with new characters, some of which we're familiar with by name, but now they have a face. And 3 episodes into the first season, we've grown somewhat fond of them, even though, learning from our mistake of getting too attached to characters in Game of Thrones who ultimately got killed off way too soon, we can't help it. But this time, some characters aren't getting killed off, yet. They're just being recast mid-season. This is something unheard of in the world of the Seven Kingdoms. So what's happening here? Stick around to find out everything we know so far. First of all, this hasn't happened before. In our favorite fantasy drama Game of Thrones, the cast wasn't changed at all. There were children and teens acting as some of our most beloved characters who remained throughout the 8 seasons. For example, Maisie Williams, who played Arya Stark, Sophie Turner, who played Sansa Stark, both remained the same all throughout the show. We got to see them grow up season by season, which made us even more attached to them. But things won't follow suit for its prequel that's currently streaming Season 1. The House of the Dragon co-creator Ryan Condal admitted that this was a decision made long ago. There would be a set of 2 actors to play a role of any character that starts off as a child in the first season. But why is this necessary? Well, we're not sure why. We know for a fact that there's going to be a time skip coming up, and our best guess is that it'll be difficult to age some of the characters that far into the future. Guess that makes some sense. During a roundtable interview before the premiere of the show, the co-creator said that he thinks it's a conceit, but after watching it many times, he thinks it does the trick just fine. Does this mean the adults get recast too after a time jump? Nope. That's where the special effects and makeup can help out. It's probably easier to make an adult look older than it is to make a child look older. Probably not too appropriate to do that either. So far, the children we've seen in the show are Rhaenyra Targaryen, Alicent Hightower, and the little twins, Laena and Laenor Velaryon. And about halfway throughout the season, we're expecting a time jump 10 years into the future, and a whole new set of actors playing these children who are now all grown up. So let's talk about who's coming in. Let's start off with Rhaenyra Targaryen. Right now, she's being played by Millie Alcock. The character is 14 years old right now, and although Millie is currently 22 years old, and in our opinion could potentially be made to look a bit older, she's being replaced. Emmy Darcy, who is 30 years old, will be replacing her. She's probably more suited and mature enough to play the part of Rhaenyra in her late 20s, and she's a wonderful actress, so we're sure she'll do the part justice. Can't say we won't miss Millie, though. Next is Alicent Hightower. The 14-year-old is currently being played by Emily Carey, who's 19. In her late 20s, the character will be played by Olivia Cooke and replace Emily. Cooke is already 28 years old, and we're kind of excited to see her. We've been fans since Bates Motel, and we're sure she'll be amazing. We'll miss you, Emily. Now, moving on to Laena. We all know the 12-year-old character who was almost made a child bride to King Viserys, played by Nova Fules-Mose, is also 12 years old. She'll be replaced by Nana Blondell after the character becomes a woman. The actress is actually 36 years old and will have to age down, but that shouldn't be a problem. And lastly, her twin brother Laenor, played by young Theo Tate, who will be replaced by John McMillan as he's in his early 20s. We wish them well, and we absolutely can't wait to see them all on screen. We understand that it was a necessary step. The impact of this strategy was evident in the second episode that aired last Sunday. King Viserys, who was played by 48-year-old Paddy Considine, must choose between Laena and Alicent to be his new bride after the tragic death of Queen Aemma, the mother of Rhaenyra. The old king decides to give Laena a shot, and they go on a little stroll together. But old Viserys here is visibly uncomfortable with the age gap, and rightfully so. She's literally a child, a baby. We get that this family has a soft spot for incest, but pedophilia has to be where they draw a line. We don't even know. What makes us cringe even more is that the little girl even innocently tells her king and potential husband that her mother told her she didn't have to share a bed with him until she turned 14, presumably the time she can start producing babies for him. What made the king make the decision? It's clear from the show that Alicent isn't doing this of her own free will. We're not sure exactly how she feels about it, but her discomfort is evident. Her father, the Hand of the King, basically pimped her out to the king. He insisted that she wear her mother's peekaboo dress and spend time alone with the king, presumably to seduce him. As she uses flattery and charm to butter up to the king and her best friend's father, she constantly is anxious. Maybe she's nervous, maybe she's guilty, but she's definitely uncomfortable. She picks her nails so raw that it looks like a manicure gone wrong. The young lady also seems distressed when the king asks that she keep their private meetings a secret from his daughter. Keeping secrets sucks, and from your bestie? Impossible. But also, in case any young girl is watching this video, if a dude tells you to keep secrets like this girl, run. Major red flag. Age gaps in marriages are shown in a new light. When the silver-haired king tells his small council and his daughter that he intends to marry Alicent, both girls express strong emotions through their teary eyes. We still don't get why he could have broken the news to her privately. That was kind of rude. Even though getting married at such a young age and with such a large age gap is common practice in author George R.R. Martin's fictional Westerosi society, House of the Dragon, focuses on the negative effects this practice has on the young girls, who are preyed upon for their presumed ability to bear as many babies as possible, and as soon as possible. Even after Viserys referred to his 14-year-old child as a woman grown in the last episode, the co-creator and his team have designed it to emphasize that neither Rhaenyra nor Alicent are ready for the adult burdens of marriage, childbearing, or ruling because they're still kids. With both their mothers being deceased and their fathers not truly supporting and loving them as they should, the girls have a lot in common. Now, all that's left to do is wait and see what the show has in store for us next. What will this new dynamic do to the family? Will the besties have a breakup? We can't wait to see. The Rogue Prince thinks the younger actors of the show will emerge as stars. We're all familiar with Matt Smith playing many roles like in Doctor Who and The Crown, but in House of the Dragon, he's won our hearts as the villain that everyone loves. The Rogue Prince has a lot to say about the cast. Smith, the 39-year-old actor, has co-stars on the show nearly 2 decades younger than him, and his wisdom tells us that they're in for a big break. Matt's character, Daemon Targaryen, in particular, has shared so many major scenes with Millie Alcock, the 22-year-old Australian actress who plays Rhaenyra Targaryen, the prince's niece. Both Alcock and Emily Carey, as the young Alicent Hightower, act as teenagers opposite older actors like Matt Smith. Game of Thrones had a similar theme, with Sean Bean playing Ned Stark opposite a slew of younger actors who became crazy popular from the HBO series. When Game of Thrones first aired, Kit Harington and Emilia Clarke were both in their early 20s, and others such as Sophie Turner and Maisie Williams were even younger than them. Look at them now. We can never forget their face as the characters they played. There were lots of jokes on set. When you're working for so long, friendships are bound to blossom between the team. Smith stated that filming House of the Dragon involved long shooting hours with plenty of time for messing around with co-stars like Fabian Frankel, the 28-year-old actor who played the role of Sir Criston Cole. According to the Rogue Prince actor, when the cast got together, there was always a great bond of friendship. They would always be laughing because they had to, even if it was just Fabian trying to sit down in the armor. Every day, that brought him such joy. He felt sorry for Fabian, God bless him. The kid was in armor the entire time, which was incredibly hard, but Matt said he thinks there were some wonderful big characters on that set. All in all, he really thinks Millie has a real shot at making it big, along with all the other young stars we've seen so far. We don't doubt that for a second. What does the success of the show say about its fans? The new show, like its predecessor, is likely to spark heated fan debates and interpretation. A lot has happened in the world since millions of people enjoyed the series premiere of Game of Thrones on April 17, 2011, and saw a small boy witness 2 adult siblings having sex in a tower, resulting in said boy being shoved ungraciously out of the window and possibly to his death. You remember that scene? We were shocked at the time, but it was only the first of many acts of surprising violence we would witness throughout the show. The visceral sexual violence found in the original show's first episode, like when young Dany is practically molested by her older brother Viserys and then sexually assaulted by her new husband on their wedding night, is absent from House of the Dragon. But don't be fooled, it still has a lot of messed up stuff like graphic violence and includes scenes of female characters having their autonomy stripped and undermined by controlling men who claim they care about their well-being during vulnerable times such as childbirth. So if you're one of those people who don't like to see skulls pounded in or middle-aged men lusting after teenage girls, you should maybe approach the show with caution. In the end, the prequel has clearly been able to recapture a huge population of the same audience that fell in love with Game of Thrones all those years ago. The stunning set designs, breathtaking cinematography, phenomenal acting performances, and the magic of Raymond Dejwadi's signature score are all playing a part in a welcome return to Westeros. And that's all for today's video. If you enjoyed it, give us a thumbs up, subscribe to the channel for more series-related news, and until next time, we'll see you. Bye.